First speaker, 1 minute, one question, indicate to whom the question is asked. Madame Petir.
Hvala vam lijepo, gospođo predsjednice. Iz dostupne dokumentacije vidljivo je kako u više od 40 godina primjene herbicida na bazi aktivnog sastojka glifosata u SAD-u nikada nije bila napravljena analiza proizvoda herbicida u formulaciji koja je bila stavljena na tržište. U procjeni rizika nadležna tijela koristila su samo testove za utvrđivanje mogućih rizika i opasnosti aktivnog sastojka glifosata, a ne cijelog koktela.
The English translation is not working. Maybe the technician can look into that. The others are working, so.
Could I repeat?
Yes, please.
Microphone.
Microphone. Jana.
Iz dostupne dokumentacije vidljivo je kako više od 40 godina primjene herbicida na bazi aktivnog sastojka glifosata u SAD-u nikada nije bila napravljena analiza proizvoda herbicida u formulaciji koja je bila stavljena na tržište. U procjeni rizika nadležna tijela koristila su samo testove za utvrđivanje mogućih rizika i opasnosti aktivnog sastojka glifosata, a ne cijelog koktela. Sve mjere sigurnosti za poljoprivrednike kao i korisnike proizvoda tretiranih tim herbicidima obuhvaćale su isključivo one mjere koje su utvrđene samo na temelju ispitivanja rizika i opasnosti aktivne tvari. Nakon što je otkriveno zataškavanje, zanima me, profesore, smatrate li da je pristup utvrđivanju rizika i opasnosti biocida u SAD-u i dalje zadovoljavajući i da u dovoljnoj mjeri štiti korisnike tih proizvoda? Te također smatrate li da nadležna tijela koja su odobrila korištenje tog herbicida trebaju sudjelovati u naknadi eventualnih troškova žrtvama?
Whom is the question?
Professor.
The professor, thank you. Professor, you have the floor.
Thank you for the question. In terms of whether or not the EPA will change the way it's doing anything or will provide compensation to the victims, we certainly don't see that. Moving towards anything like that, I don't believe that historically has been the role or the precedent set by that. I have discussed with EPA, and EPA has made statements regarding the lack of requirement for significant tests for glyphosate-based formulation. They do require, and you can see in the documents, there have been some tests done, but they are not nearly as substantial as they are for the single active ingredient glyphosate. In the Monsanto Papers, you see, actually, in a conversation, I believe it was relevant to some regulatory matters happening in Australia, you see a Monsanto scientist saying, we cannot say that Roundup is safe. We cannot say that it does not cause cancer because we have not done those types of tests. But the EPA in the U.S. does not require that. They look at the active ingredient and they look at the other ingredients, and if those are all considered to be safe independent of one another, they don't look at how they might react or interact with each other when put together in a formulation. There are documents where Monsanto talks about POEA, which has been banned here in Europe. They were greatly concerned about how that was going to be presented, and they did not want any health problem tied to the removal of POEA from the marketplace. They were concerned about how that might look, but they have been moving to introduce other ingredients instead of POEA in their products.
Thank you. Then next speaker is Mr. Guillaume Balas. Yeah, go ahead, 1 minute.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Il y a un doute sur le glyphosate, il y a des études qui sont controversées sur le sujet, mais le grand problème pour les décideurs publics que nous sommes, c'est qu'on a un doute aussi sur ceux qui évaluent aujourd'hui ces risques scientifiques. On a beau dire on est indépendant, on vient de l'entendre aujourd'hui, c'est basé sur simplement la foi que nous devrions avoir dans ce qui nous est dit. Mais la question que je pose et ce qui s'adresse à Madame Gillam à travers toute l'expérience qu'elle a sur ces sujets est la suivante. Comment pouvons-nous aujourd'hui, selon vous, Madame, et selon l'expérience que vous avez de ce qui s'est passé aux États-Unis, mettre des procédures qui soient des procédures scientifiques puis de décision publique qui soient saines et qui notamment séparent absolument les scientifiques et l'évaluation scientifique des liens avec l'industrie? Juste une remarque, nous sommes ici pour traiter des Monsanto Papers. Je rappelle qu'à l'intérieur de ces Monsanto Papers, il y a quelque chose de très grave qui montre qu'un membre de l'EPA, donc de l'autorité sanitaire américaine, a pu influencer l'EFSA. C'est quand même ça aujourd'hui qui nous inquiète profondément.
Thank you, Madame Gillam.
Yes, thank you. So, two questions, I guess. My opinion on how to create a more healthy system, regulatory, be it in the US or in Europe, would be to have more transparency. It is a real problem when they are relying on secret studies, studies that are not to be shared or peer-reviewed or to be able to be analyzed. It is a problem when the regulators, when you see that they are relying more on assessments and the advice and counsel of the company that makes money off of these products than they are off of their own internal experts. The 1983 mouse study that I showed you is so compelling to me because the scientists within EPA were fighting to protect the public. They say in another document I was not able to show you, it's not our job to protect the registrant. It is our job to protect the public. And that is what they were trying to do, and yet they eventually were overruled because of the pressure from Monsanto and the arguments from Monsanto that evidence of those rare tumors should be discounted. So, you need a transparent system. You need a system where the public and other scientists can scrutinize what is happening with the regulation of these chemicals. It should not be a secret. There's no reason it should be a secret. These chemicals affect, I guess I'm out of time, affect the public in very dramatic ways. Sorry, I'm out of time. Or no, I have 2 minutes. All right, sorry. In terms of the EPA influence on EFSA, I only know what we've seen in the documents, and you do see specific examples of EPA, specifically Jess Rowland and a couple of others where they're discussing EFSA and discussing meetings and conversations in Europe. And there's even a very interesting email, which I don't have here, but where there is a conversation that EFSA is going to agree. They've learned that EFSA is going to agree with EPA and go against IARC. And this is dated even before the IARC monograph was completed or released, which is very interesting. And now I'm out of time.
Thank you. Mr. Staes. Mr. Staes.
Dank u, voorzitter. Mijn vraag is voor professor Kirkland. We weten ondertussen dat de EU-experten en de nationale experten van het BFR, de EFSA, ECHA, studies hebben gebruikt bij hun evaluatie van glyfosaat, die ook voorkomen in de Monsanto Papers. Mevrouw Gillam heeft verwezen naar mailverkeer vanuit Monsanto, onder meer naar een mail van juli 2012. Waarin meneer Saltimiras en Gustin van Monsanto zeggen dat ze extra steun nodig hebben van een extra wetenschapper om de credibiliteit te winnen. Meneer Kirkland, u wordt daarin vernoemd in die mail. Er wordt ook gezegd dat u 14.000 pond wordt aangeboden. En dat wordt later de studie Kirkland. Er is ook de mail van februari 2015, waarin meneer Heidens van Monsanto zegt, kijk, we gaan de kosten laag houden, we gaan een studie zelf schrijven, we gaan daar de namen aan toevoegen van meneer Kier, van meneer Graham en van meneer Kirkland, en dat zal de zaken alleen maar verbeteren. U zei bij uw inleiding, take us back to science. Noemt u dat wetenschap? Vindt u dat moreel aanvaardbaar? Is dat deontologisch aanvaardbaar? Ik zou van u willen weten hoeveel geld u ontvangen hebt voor alles wat u reeds gedaan hebt ten gunste van Monsanto. Dank u.
Professor Kirkland.
Thank you for your question. As I mentioned at the beginning of my talk, professional consultants are asked to review data in order to give professional advice, just as you would consult with an architect for changes to your house, or an accountant to audit your accounts, or a lawyer to give you legal advice. Just because those people are paid for their professional expertise and their opinion does not mean that their opinions can be bought, can be influenced. And I find it really quite disturbing that scientific consultants are put in a different basket as far as this approach is concerned. I've been driven by the science for nearly 40 years. I've been a consultant for 20 of those. I work for around about 150 different organizations and companies around the world. And I sit in the middle of a triangle between academic, regulatory, and industrial scientists. I have a reputation to maintain. I have the respect of those colleagues to maintain. What Bill Hayden's wrote in that email, I think, was just naive, and it clearly did not lead to any policy decision, because certainly for all of the documents that I've been involved in, so the Carey and Kirkland paper of 2013 and the review of 2015, there was no ghostwriting. There was no influence by Monsanto or any of the other manufacturers. We reviewed the data and we provided our scientific opinions. If those happened to be the sort of thing that Monsanto were looking for, then good for them. But that was not the intention when we made the review. If we'd come up with adverse comments, then they would have been submitted to Monsanto in just the same way.
Thank you. And the last question, Mr. Tarabella.
Monsieur Kirkland, merci d'avoir accepté notre invitation alors que Monsanto a refusé de se présenter devant ce Parlement et donc de répondre aux inquiétudes des 500 millions de citoyens que nous représentons. Rappelons qu'en 2012, Monsieur Kirkland, vous avez co-rédigé une étude sur le glyphosate. Ses conclusions étaient largement favorables à son utilisation. Là où cela devient interpellant, c'est que c'est Monsanto qui vous avait commandité cette étude et que la multinationale vous a payé 18 000 € en échange de celle-ci. Une firme vous verse une somme d'argent pour publier sur son propre produit. En quoi êtes-vous dès lors indépendant? N'est-ce pas contraire à l'éthique? Le résultat n'est-il pas d'office biaisé? Est-ce que vous êtes toujours crédible en tant que scientifique? D'ailleurs, je voudrais rappeler qu'à l'heure actuelle, vous avez un contrat annuel avec Monsanto qui a refusé de révéler le montant, mais on imagine que c'est loin d'être gratuit vu les intérêts en jeu. Je me demande également combien d'autres scientifiques sont dans votre cas, dans une sorte de conflit d'intérêts permanent. Enfin, de telles pratiques si douteuses sont-elles acceptables lorsqu'on parle de la santé de centaines de millions de citoyens et de leurs enfants?
Professor Kirkland. Professor Kirkland.
Thank you. Firstly, let me be clear, I did not conduct a study in 2012. Larry Kaya and I were asked to review all of the data that were available in the public domain, in published journals, and that were available from studies that had been conducted under contract. So that was a review, not a study. And as I described in my presentation, we took a weight of evidence approach, and we came to conclusions. If those conclusions were what Monsanto wanted to hear, then I would presume they were quite pleased that they asked us to do the review. But I can assure you, if our conclusions had been something that Monsanto did not want to hear, we would have told Monsanto that we think glyphosate is a potential genotoxic risk. That is not what the data told us. You can accuse me of being unethical, but then you'd better accuse your architect and your accountant and your solicitor for being unethical, because you pay them to give you professional advice. And that is all I do for any of the companies, the organizations that ask for my expertise. If that is unethical, then I would imagine there's an awful lot of people earning a living around the world who would also be called unethical.
Thank you very much, Professor. This concludes the second panel.